Hello everybody, my name is Ratnos and welcome to a set of class tuning buffs. I'm going to move my camera to the other side here. So these came out while I was recording a 1 hour long Mythic Queen Ansarek guide. Very unfortunate for the timing here. Yeah, 1 hour and 3 minutes ago. Basically right when I started doing that. Didn't notice. So sorry for the delay. Sorry for this being a little bit later than usual relative to the patch notes. So we regularly make combat design adjustments based on gameplay data and feedback from players on class performance. Also, we broke balance with the recent patch, and now we're going to try and fix it. With scheduled weekly maintenance in each region, we'll make the following changes to classes that are over and underperforming in various areas. Up first, we have Blood Decay. So Blood Decay got damage nerfed with a hotfix that was targeting Deathbringer, a hero talent tree. My belief is that it got collateral damage because they just nerfed the base abilities in Deathbringer, and it affected both Blood and Frost. Even though I don't think they really intended for it to affect Blood, but probably just because of the hotfix, the way they were doing it at the time or something, they also shot Blood. So Blood is getting damage increases here. Blood Boil, Heart Strike, Blood Plague, and Death Strike. Notably, these are going to buff both Deathbringer and Sandlane. And Sandlane is getting further buffed here. We're looking to increase the effectiveness of the Gift of the Sandlane window due to the reduced uptime after the 11.0.5 changes, where it was moved to Rune Weapon rather than Vamp Blood that procced this thing. So Vamp Strike chance to proc is increased to 35 from 25, Essence of the Blood Queen 25 from 20 seconds, and Gift of the Sandlane increases the effectiveness of Essence of the Blood Queen by 200%, was 150%. I don't know if this changes whether, like, if this, obviously, like, this is good for Blood, and then this is good for Sandlane relative to Deathbringer. I don't know if that's enough to make Sandlane better than Deathbringer, but it'll be interesting to see. I know people aren't a huge fan of the Sandlane gameplay. The Deathbringer gameplay is hit or miss as well, depending on the DK. So yeah, it'll be interesting to keep track of. Balance Druid. The goals of these changes are to increase single target damage and even out the power of talents in Balance's spec tree to provide as much build flexibility to players as possible. We want Power of Goldrin to be an effective single target pick, and we'd like talents like Touch of the Cosmos and Hail of Stars to be more competitive with other options. Celestial Alignment and Incarn once again reset at the end of raid encounters. Yeah, we had like 2-minute long pull timers this week because this wasn't happening, so that's nice. Starfall is getting buffed, 6%. Star Surge, 8%, but not in PvP. Starfire, 5%. Wrath, 10%. Shooting Stars and Crashing Stars, 20%. Sunseeker Mushrooms, though, are getting nerfed. They grow 12% less often. Touch the Cosmos proc chance is increased to 15 for Wrath and 22 for Starfire. Power of Goldrin increased by 25%, again, not in PvP. Rattle the Stars is getting nerfed, though, to 8% down from 10, and New Moon and Half Moon reduced by 5%. So my guess is that this is net buff for Balanced Druid, including an AoE, but especially in single target. And yeah, also this is going to change relative talent balance, which I'm definitely too stupid to identify, like the downstream effects of all these for which talents that people actually play. My guess is that it probably will tweak that a little bit, though. Resto Druid as well. Call of the Elder Druid's duration is increased to 15 from 10 seconds. Dream of Cenarius now causes Wrath and Shred to transfer 100% of their damage into healing instead of 50, and Starfire and Swipe to transfer 50% was 33. So we're looking to increase the playability of Dream of Cenarius as the window for Heart of the Wild is a bit too short to be meaningful, and the upside of this talent has not yet been worth it. Nice, I like that a lot. Beast Mastery Hunter. There were some niche situations where players might want to gain trick shots or beast cleave for more damage from bleak powder in single target. Bleak powder and black powder. Black powder, I think is it bleak? I don't know. It's meant to complement AoE situations, not incentivize the usage of AoE in single target situations. So Dark Ranger bleak powder no longer damages its primary target. Pack Leader, Frenzied Tear proc chance reduced to 10% was 20. Vicious Hunt damage reduced by 10%. BM is overperforming in single target. We'd like to reduce its single target while improving its lackluster AoE. That sounds great to me as a goal. Barb Shot damage reduced by 25%. Stomp increased by 50%. Multi-Shot increased by 100%, but Multi-Shot does very little damage. Stomp is definitely a big one, though. And Explosive Venom now procs at 3 stacks, was 5, and will appropriately apply Serpent Sting to enemies regardless of their distance to caster. So this is buff, and then this is quality of life, right? Nice. Again, good goals. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not not really a Beast Mastery expert, so I don't know if these numbers are the right amount to do these things, but Nerfing their single target and buffing their AoE sound good to me. All right, marksmanship time. Dark Ranger is overperforming in single target, and we're looking to reduce it while compensating with some AoE buffs to keep the AoE performance roughly the same. So the goal here is nerf single target and keep AoE the same. Dark Ranger, Black Arrow damage reduced by 10%. Bleak Powder increased by 25%, but note that of course no longer damages the primary target. And Shadow Surge increased by 25%. And Symphonic Arsenal lost more bite than intended from the removal of Eagle Talon's True Focus. So Sentinel, Symphonic Arsenal damage is increased by 15% for Sentinel MM, which MMs were overwhelmingly playing Dark Ranger so far this patch, but we will see how this changes things. Monk, Mistweaver, all healing increased by 6%. Yeah, Mistweaver, very historically underplayed, but also just kind of looked lackluster. I've heard that the playstyle is good, though, and it just needs number, so hopefully it gets some number here. Awakened Jadefire now causes Spinning Crane Kick to transfer 110%, was 90. Jadefire Teachings now increases Ancient Teachings by an additional 160%, was 140. Rushing Wind Kick's damage increased by 150%, and Rushing Winds now increases Renewing Mist Healing by 100% for its duration, was 50. Yulon's Whisper healing increased by 400%, and Jade Bond, now only increases Gust of Winds healing, or Gust of Mist healing by 20%, was 60%. We're excited that Chi-Ji Mastery builds exist and is powerful in the right conditions, but numerically its output has been above what we're comfortable. We're decreasing the effectiveness of this build without breaking the cooldown reduction gameplay to keep the feel the same, and compensating baseline to shrink the difference between this high-end output and regular play. Okay, so maybe this actually is a net nerf to the best Mistweavers in the world that we're using that build. I'm not sure. It should be a nice buff for any casual Mistweaver enjoyers that weren't using that. Paladin. Holy Paladin's mana has been plentiful enough to use Beacon of Virtue more often than we'd like throughout a raid encounter. We would like use of Beacon of Virtue to influence mana decisions more heavily. Beacon of Virtue now costs 5% base mana, was 4%, and Holy Shock now costs 2.8% base mana, was 2.6%. So yeah, Holy Paladin mana nerfs. Okay. Disc Priests. We're increasing Discipline's direct healing throughput to help in situations where no enemy target is present to trigger Atonement. We would also like to nudge Discipline's performance up in raid, particularly for Oracle. Power Word Radiance healing increased by 20%. Flash Heal 15%. Premonition of Piety increases healing by 20%, was 15. And Preemptive Care increases Atonement duration by 4 seconds, was 3 seconds. Yeah, Disc has been in kind of dire straits in raid this expansion, so hopefully this helps. Shadow. Oh, no way, dude. Okay, hang on. Okay, so this is the changelog for Psychic Link over the years from its introduction of in patch 7.0.3, making Mind Blast deal 30% of its damage to all targets within 40 yards that are affected by Shadow Word Pain. And then Void Bolt also, it was an honor talent for a little bit. And then, now it's Mind Blast, but down to 20%. And now it's up to 60% in 9.0.1. 50%. 50% again, 60%. Now it's Mind Spike as well, but it's only 15% in 10.0. And then, Shadow kind of sucks. Let's make Mind Flay do it as well. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. And Mind Games and Void Bolt and Void Torrent too in 10.0.5. And actually, let's buff that up to 30%. Whoa, Shadow, yeah, let's give him 40%. But it doesn't apply to damage from Shadow Word Pain or Vampiric Touch. Now it's just all single target damage is Psychic Linking. 40%. Also, okay, not apparitions either, but still 40%. Okay, now back down to 30%. That was crazy. That was too much. And actually, you know what? It's too much still. Down to 25%. Shadow Priest is OP. Actually, you know what? Down to 15%. Die, Shadow Priests. Okay, well, hang on. Back up to 25%. That's okay. That was overzealous. It's okay. That can come back a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. Back up to 30%. Yeah, that's good. Shadow needs a little bit more love. Let's give him a little bit more. New expansion comes out. Wait. Back down to 25%. Let's not get too crazy here. Let's moderate a little bit here. Down to 25%. And now we are going back up to 30% finally. So that is the saga of Psychic Link. I'm looking forward to seeing what wacky number they put on this ability next patch. Rogue, Assassination, Master Assassin, crit chance granted during effect reduced to 20%, was 25%, so a slight nerf to Master Assassin for Assassination. Not a huge change to Sin Rogue overall. Ellie Shaman. With all the changes to Elemental and Enhancement Shaman in 11.0.5, some changes were performing beyond our tuning goals. We're adjusting several talents and abilities to reduce their overall power. Farseer is getting buffed, but not in PvP. Stormbringer is getting 1 instant chain lightning, or lightning bolt was 2. That's actually going to be nice quality of life for me because I was kind of bad at spending both of them, so I like that. Voltaic Surge now increases earthquake and chain lightning damage by 5%, was 15. Echo Chamber now increases the damage of elemental overloads by 20, was 40. Ascendance now increases the damage of overloads by 100% while active, was 150. Preeminence now increases haste by 20% while Ascendance was active, was 25. And Ice Fury actually is getting buffed here to increase Frost Shock damage by 200%, was 150. So Farseer is getting buffed, Stormbringer is getting nerfed, the spec overall is getting nerfed, but Ice Fury is getting buffed. Yeah, Ellie was obviously super OP. A lot of changes here. We'll see if it is still good, still OP, what the situation is after this. Enhance, on the other hand, is also getting some nerfs. Lightning Bolt damage reduced by 10%, Chain Lightning 10%, and Tempest 15%. So fewer things being affected here, although Tempest was a lot of their damage, so that getting nerfed is definitely a big thing. Resto is getting buffs to Farseer's damage output, but not any healing buffs. Okay, Warlock. We're increasing the throughput of all Warlock specs to make each more competitive with other classes in both single target and AoE. In particular, for demo, this means reverting the reduction in demonic core generation to help with their overall mobility. We will continue to monitor the performance of each spec and make further adjustments where needed. See, I don't know anybody who was saying that the demonic core generation changes needed to be reverted. All I remember was Warlocks being like, yeah, we like not being able to move on this spec. So that's crazy to see this getting reverted. AF, Hellcaller, Wither increased by 25%. And then Agony 15, Corruption 15, UA 20. This is big buff staff. Demo, Dreadstalkers now have 100% to generate a demonic core, was 50, was 35, was 100, is the sort of roller coaster those have been on. Felguard damage increased by 125%, Hand of Gul'dan 25%, and Dreadstalkers 20%. So I know that several Warlocks I knew were like, please don't buff Demo. I don't want to play Demo. I wonder if this is going to be enough of a quality of life buff as well as a numbers buff to make it so that they're less feeling that way. I hope it is. Destrolock. Hellcaller, Wither damage 25%, and then Chaos Bolt 10, Immolate 25, Incinerate 20, Conflag 25, Rain of Fire 20. So big buffs for all 3 Warlock specs here. Wow. And especially for Hellcaller, a little bit on top of it for both AF and Destro. Warrior. Execute damage going up by 10%. Colossus Arms, demolish single target damage going up by 15%. Slayer, Reap the Storm going up by 25%. Slayer Strike damage increased by 15%. Mortal Strike 15%. Overpower 15%. Dreadnought 15%. And Cleave 20%. Now, I can only assume that they said increased here when they meant decreased. I mean, we're buffing DPS Warrior? Really? I thought that we were just only ever going to nerf this DPS Warriors. Let's see what they're doing to Fury. Slayer, Reap the Storm, 25%. Slayer Strike, 15%. Mountain Thane, Lightning Strike, 30%. Nice. Bloodthirst, 20%. Bloodbath, 20%. Rampage, 10%. I don't know. See, I don't know. You start buffing warriors, they're going to be all happy for a bit. So, okay, I think that what's happening here is that warriors are getting buffed so that it will be all the more crushing when they again nerf them next week. That's my early prediction of what's going to happen here. But seriously, this is good. DPS warriors paid a lot for the sins of how good they are on a few specific Nerebar Palace fights. I do continue to think that they should move the power and Fury Warrior away from the things that make them OP on the most important fights of the tier, and more into, say, sustained single target damage, sustained AoE damage, which is good. So they moved damage out of Bladestorm and Odin's Fury and stuff, Thunderous Roar, and put it into these kind of more sustained damage effects. I do think this is a good direction to bring the class and to bring these specs, especially Arms. Arms got shot for a lot of the sins of Fury over the past few months as well, so it's nice to see it getting even a bit more on the buff side of things. I also am happy to see them trying to buff Mountain Thane and Colossus, although I suspect that given they're buffing Slayer by this much in this one, this is actually going to widen the gap between Slayer and the other options for the 2 DPS Warrior specs, which is probably fine. Slayer's fun, so fair enough. And then Prot Warrior is also getting a Colossus Demolish single target damage increase. Also note that this Execute damage increase isn't... Realistically, this is more of an Arms buff than a Fury buff. Execute's a bigger chunk of your Arms damage than your Fury damage, so... yeah, good changes here for Warrior. I would nerf him again next week just for the lulz, but yeah, that's definitely objectively good in my opinion. Objectively, in my opinion. PvP changes, who cares? PvP is a stupid minigame that I don't play, except for sometimes when there are rewards for PvE. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.